Now, we're all familiar with the invade onto SHACO boxes so that he can't actually have a leash, but as you can see, sometimes people take it a little bit too far. We have the Maokai, we have the Lee Sin, everybody's rushing at a SHACO, and I just covered a SHACO in the coaching class, so yeah, we're primed for this. Now, the interesting thing about this champion is most people in this MMR range and most MMR ranges don't really truly know how to play him, and obviously, the buffs to the champion that we just had with the boxes also getting the bonus damage to monsters, you're going to see a very, very interesting dynamic when it comes to leveling up boxes like 3 points into that to farm quicker, because that was a strategy a couple of years ago. Covered a rank 1 SHACO main who did exactly that rather than focusing on this PvP sort of playstyle. Now, as a SHACO, when you get compromised like this, I like it because what it does is it teaches you a little bit about what you do to enemy junglers. And also, if you understand what it's like to be in this situation, you become a better jungler as well. Now, what I would have done here is just run down this way and go back to base and go to the top side as quickly as I could. It really slows down your clear, but because you can just sequence all the way down, because you can always do blue side quadrant and cheese the Lee Sin, there's a lot of different things that you can do to impact the game, or at least stop the Lee Sin taking over. Now, I'm not a personal fan of necessarily even doing this because while we get our red here from the SHACO and we go back to the blue Grump here from the Lee Sin's perspective, you know, and Ezreal's a little bit fed, you never know what might occur, right? Like, does the SHACO go top side, not take your red side, and then get this Gangplank, get this Kale really fed, kills the Gangplank, gets a Kale ahead? Does he go mid lane and really snowball the Smolder to an unprecedented degree because you decided to do this into this into this, maybe go here, do all of this again? When you do vertical jungling, when you do invades, when you do cheese, usually there's a window to shut that down, and a lot of people in Platinum don't know that. So you absolutely must head over to Virkayu.gg. I have a free jungle improvement resource as well as a dedicated program where we have jungle video courses, jungle coaching VOD libraries, weekly free video content seen nowhere else, as well as Q&As and patch note rundowns, as well as a private jungle Discord. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's making junglers reach their goals, as we saw with the record number of people hitting them at the end of season 13. If you want to climb faster than anyone you know, jungle diff every game you play, click the link below or head to Virkayu.gg. In this particular case, the SHACO is going to go ahead and just start as blue, go into his Grump as expected here, obviously. We have the Gangplank in the lane right there. Lee Sin's fallen back to his blue side, most likely goes to the top scuttle, so the SHACO says, I'm just going to keep going and give that to you. That's very good. It's warded by the enemy Cassio. If you pay attention, you can track this stuff. Now everyone knows where you are. Lee Sin's on the top side. Effectively, these level 1 invades can sometimes work, and I love to cover videos on this channel where they, you know, ruin your life entirely. But it's also good to see where it actually works out, and SHACO is one of those champions. Now, unfortunately for SHACO here, you can see this. Our bottom lane are here. Well, one of our bottom laners there. The Leona's in the mid lane, and there's a Maokai in the river, level 2, mind you, trying to stop us from taking the Scuttle Crab. But we know Lee Sin's on the top side. And Cassio, paying attention, is over there. So what he decides to do here is go straight for this. Lee Sin's there. Okay, Lee Sin, come on now. See, this is what I'm talking about. They go for these invades to try and stop the boxes and take a camp. They go back to their blue side. They don't really know why, though, and they don't really think about what the enemy SHACO is going to be doing. And good SHACO players, they do think like this, but most average SHACO players don't. So, in my opinion, this is absolutely fine to go for if you feel you're strong enough to fight 3v3 with the Lee Sin potentially showing up, because from our perspective, we know the guy's most likely still in this area. Therefore, I just kind of want to take away this Scuttle Crab, and then I want to put some deep vision here if I have it for the Grump whenever that spawns, or I can maybe gank the Ezreal with Misfortune, right? Try and have some sort of impact while the Lee Sin's on the other side of the map. And when you're getting invaded by stuff like this and playing against a SHACO, that's how you would think necessarily. That's how you would think. There you go, period. Lee Sin. All right, and now we're hovering in a bush, going back to base where it's warded, instead of thinking about, hey, maybe I could go take the bottom scuttle. If you come under pressure from invades, no matter who you are, this is the move, all right? Let the guy go ahead and do his stuff. He was compromised on his full sequence because of the invade. Sure, you lose a camp, but now I'm on the opposite side of the map with some opportunities, which I just described. Ward his Grump, take the Scuttle Crab, gank the Ezreal, let the guy wander around the desert, go back to base, come out, gank the GP quickly before he gets to 6, before he gets too strong, get your Kale in the game, nice, fall back to your quadrant or fall back to the grubs if the Lee Sin's down here. You follow the extrapolation? That's what we would want to do, But the SHACO decides to stick it to the mid lane and go for the 3v3. Now the Lee Sin just goes to the backline Smolder here. Smolder does have flash available. Saves it. SHACO's going too deep against the Cassio and the Maokai. Leona's out of position, and Leona will die to the Lee Sin. I just didn't want to do that at all. Smolder's lower on HP. Guy wants to go back to base. I'm not interested in forcing that 3v3 and giving a Lee Sin a free Scuttle Crab. And of course, you can translate that into a better gank here or back into his quadrant. Totally compromised. Now, you probably think I want to go ahead and gank this Gangplank, but it's 5:30. The guy just dings level 6. Not good now. Also, Lee Sin could, after this, go back to base and come back to the bottom side to gank bottom lane, take these camps, and take the dragon. But what a jungler's kind of focusing on right now? Grubs. So, let's see what he does. Because the SHACO still has the opportunity to gank this Gangplank, but Kayle is a little bit too compromised. Lee Sin does, in fact, come to the top side, and now we kind of lack the ability to do anything. Because the Lee Sin's invade, while it sucks for us, did cost us a little bit of control, but we still found these windows to make plays happen. And we didn't use the windows for the right plays at all. We just didn't. We didn't take the Scuttle Crab, we didn't gank the Ezreal, we sat in the bush, we took a 3v3, we didn't want to take it at all. And now, Gangplank will go back to base. Lee Sin can shadow the scenario, he can invade you, you're level 4. He's trying to trap. Why are we just being shilling here? The problem in Platinum is you guys also don't take the leads you could have seriously. Now, you see the SHACO, he's level 4, he's going to go back down. You know the guy can't necessarily contest against this because it's a Smolder and you got a Cassio and the Kayle needs to push his wave. She's compromised. GP has used his ultimate at this particular stage, but at the time had his ultimate. Start the grubs up. You release in. Hopefully you have a control ward here to slap down, which I would want against the SHACO, but I don't really worry about the SHACO at all. In fact, I would, once I've seen him, not worry too much about him, right? The problem here with the Lee Sin is the sequencing. You see this? The Raptors here we're still level 1, right? Right there. You can see bottom left, level 1, because the guy skipped them to go red Krugs. So the invade has compromised his sequencing, and now he's like, I don't really know what to do. And like, we're looking at both of them. What do either of them do? And when you're in that situation as a jungler, this is the big problem, which is why I'm absolutely happy if the guy just decided to be selfish and say yes, 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 yes. Because if he does that to SHACO and honestly sacrifices that first phase just to get a few freebies ahead of the Lee Sin and use a little bit of that invade loss of tempo to gain tempo himself, he's in a great position. But he didn't do it, and now the Lee Sin's like, well, Krugs have finally shown. Because I kind of want to go to the Krugs. Like, honestly, if you do Raptors here and Krugs are spawning, just go straight to the Krugs. Yeah, right. I thought I said it backwards in my head. Raptors into the Krugs, watch the SHACO, observe the SHACO, wait for this guy to show up. Maybe you can gank this lane with the Gangplank again. She burns her ultimate, ha 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 ha, go down and do the grubs afterwards. You don't need to sit here and wait for the SHACO and potentially coin flip the grubs. That's the bad play. So Lee Sin misses a level 5 spike Krug camp. And now SHACO is basically being shilling. What do we got? We got 3 in E, and there we go. Good. We got a kill. Watch bottom lane here. Obviously, the guy takes all the grubs and goes to his Krug camp. Now, if Lee Sin takes all of these suckers and goes here, we have time to do this and gank this. Regardless, I do feel like we're in a situation where we need to make things happen because the Gangplank is getting quite far ahead. The bottom lane is quite far ahead. And I don't think farming is going to get us back in this game. So once you kill the Cassio, ditch as if you're going down, then swap into this and ward and take control of this, and then go ahead and try and gank this if you can. And ideally, you should be able to. Well, the game's already doomed, but like, you see where my plays come in? Just creating that time advantage over the enemy jungler? That's kind of what we want to accomplish here with the SHACO. Unfortunately, he doesn't do these things. Or does he? Wait, did I speak too soon? SHACO showing up, walking at them, chucking the... Why would you flash if you're Maokai? Like, you're dead, just save your flash. Because now you don't have the engage. Misfortune! Misfortune! Strong champion, but doesn't get it. Unlucky, but we were able to get a gank off. I take that as a W. I still think we should have gotten this Gromp and got the bottom lane gank and pushed the wave up and fallen back to our right side afterwards. Sure, I'd give up a Dragon, but I don't really care because I don't really think we'd have to necessarily give it up. And then I can reset, go topside, I can take these again, gank this again. The options, the shake, I do see, the whole point of this video, I guess, is how to notice all of the jungle opportunities that you are missing, right? And while this sounds like a generic statement that I've said before, the context is always important, right? And now Lee Sin's in the bottom lane. Misfortune's here with no mana. I don't know why we're in this position at all. But it is what it is. Like, see, this you can't control. All this other stuff we could control, but this you cannot control. I like that he reacted and he rotated, but the Maokai confuses me just a little bit. A little bit of a weird Maokai player. Back to base. Grubs are going to be coming up shortly. You know, let's go topside here. Gangplank again, huge lead. Do you see where those windows for top lane ganks are pretty damn important? Because if you don't hit them and you miss them, enemy laners can run away with things so quickly. So the Gangplank dips down here out of vision. He shows back up here the angle with which he's using to get back into lane. Guy probably left a deep ward. Don't know where it is. But it's just such a hands-off approach. You know, Lee Sin's up 21 CS. There we go. It's just not as crazy as it should be. And I understand that the boxes were compromised early, right? But I'm not really worried too much about that as the SHACO. Because I felt like it doesn't really matter in terms of what we want to accomplish in the game. And now we've given up a lot of farm to the Lee Sin. We've not impacted the lanes. That's a slow there from the Smolder W. How many stacks are we at? 75! 75. If you can get that by 18, you're looking good. Then he's really strong. But I like this. See, this is solid. The first grubs he gives up and he uses to gain some sort of kill in the Cassie and the kill in the bottom lane. That's good. Now he does it again and he's going to go straight for the bottom lane. That's good. If we can add together the ability to make that... he should have just gone straight up onto the Ezreal. There's no reason to go on the Maokai there at all. The part thing was not optimal. We'll get a kill here as well. That's fine, but... like, the fact that we're not just straight up going in the Ezreal with a better angle of approach is a bit of an issue. But what we should have done is gone for some counter jungling as well. Dragon. He's just slow about it. And when you're slow about it and you telegraph it, people can cut you off. Like, sapling can be tossed here, ward, there you go. Now we're forced to smite it. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's dealing with it in a decent way, and he's 2-0-2, which is great, but his farming his way down, his objectives don't really exist, and the Lee Sin is pretty damn strong. And we haven't been able to shut down the Ezreal. That's really the focal point here. We should have been able to shut down the Ezreal. Grubs, Arcane Shift makes it real tough. Like, I know that Ezreal is tough to kill. So I almost didn't process that he died. Just looking. Level 9 Ezreal, man. Look at the damage, though. Disgusting. And they buffed this. This champion is disgusting. Truly. Overbuffed. That's why the importance of shutting it down in that first phase was critical, right? Not doing this nonsense here. It was just gank the guy right now. Just shut him down, get on top of it, repeat that process more, be more successful with it. You really could have won the game with it if you were the SHACO. From Lee Sin's perspective, as we shift a little bit, the guy's done a solid job for clearing, getting objectives, shadowing what he needed to shadow. He didn't really have to do much, burning time and summoner spells, like getting all the mites for his team. Sometimes now he's going to get in the SHACO's face here. I like this. This is solid. Like, you don't always need to have high KP. Right in his face, too. Look at this. Ah, not this, though. What do we like to do here, guys? F's in the chat. What do we like to do here? Hit the plant. See where he is. If you're tracking where the guy has been and you lose a little bit of, the sense of what quadrant he wants to go to, hit the Scry's Bloom, get the detection point, make your executive decision. Hey guys, can we contest this? Because obviously Misfortune was out of the picture, but so is Ezreal. He finally died in the bottom lane. And obviously Smolder's coming from base, so I would hit that first, see what I got to work with, and then decide if I want to stay or not. And ideally then what I would do is leave, Wolves, Gromp, gank the Ezreal again, take this turret, fall back to Dragon, back to base, come on to base, take the Herald. If I'm shaky when I see that, I probably go straight to the Herald to quickly deny that, fall back to my quadrant to prevent counter jungling, and now you're just in an equal phase mid game where it's about your macro and your gold lead and other such things. But instead, both decide to coin for both a red buff. Haha. It do be that way sometimes. Problem is we got no map control at all. Down 23 CS. At least in his total objective control. We're farming it up a lot, but no, it's not doing anything. That's the problem with a lot of farming junglers or even shakers when they can't get going. Like their impact just doesn't create an actual advantage for anyone other than themselves. And the selfish level jungling, of course it is fine and dandy, but not if your game ends before you even become that solo carry. Now what's weird about this game is everyone kind of chills. And in the mid game in Platinum, they didn't usually chill, do they? By chill, I mean there's no kills. But maybe I was wrong about that. No, I wasn't. Okay. We'll speed it up. So Lee Sin obviously wants to go for the Herald. As I said, Shaker comes to the bottom side. Again, basically says no objective. I think at this point it's negligence. Like he's just giving up free things. He didn't protect his blue side, so Gangplank is here. We're able to snack our blue buff away. A lie, we don't even get it. I was so shocked. We don't get it. Now they're using the mites to push this turret down. Ezreal's pushing the bottom wave. We're protecting our camps a little bit. Ezreal shows that we can't really do much about it. Look at the damage. Woo! Cassie moves into the jungle. This is great from the red team, by the way. Like, we're talking from the blue team's perspective, but as a red team's perspective, you'd no longer have to fight. The threat of you fighting is more than enough to win this game straight up. You have such a big lead overall. Take the Herald, punch this plate, I like it. You got people pushing here, you got people pushing here, you got people pushing here. Absolutely huge. Getting in the jungle, you force a huge rotation to the top side, which allows Ezreal to take this one, hopefully. Or at least someone to take the mid lane turret. We take that one. Okay. Yeah. Should be able to get it now. Huge. This is really good platinum level macro that will get people to Emerald from the Lee Sin's team. Straight up. It's very, very nice. I do think that Lee Sin has been way more hands-off PvP-wise. Like, I do think we could have maybe had a bit more impact, but at the same time, I've also had these games where you're like 2-0-0, all lanes win. What do? Keep the SHACO from being free, which he did. Keep the SHACO from getting objectives, which he did. And then shadow and support the turret pushing initiative to help your team end the game. And sometimes that's all a jungler's got to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I know it doesn't feel always as sexy, you know, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to win con. I think it's an important lesson because a lot of junglers in the Lee Sin's case will be overcommitting in a lot of situations. Is this finally a kill? Do we get a kill here? Yes, a kill. Score. Now the problem is you haven't taken a single turret. And you have no objectives. And you're SHACO. And Kale is, as all Kales are, useless. And over pushing. So how do you win this game? Unfortunately, as I tell you this, first thing you do is take all your camps and control them. Push waves when you can push waves without dying. Usually that means specifically here, give them, this should be the third dragon, but give them the dragon. Give it. Go somewhere where people are not and push. Get a bounty. Take some camps away. Get some division. Just anything. Anything to get a pressure release. And if that includes giving away a dragon to the enemy team, you do it. You absolutely do it. Otherwise, if the enemy team are disciplined and they just don't fall for that impatience game, sometimes there's not a lot you can do. You slowly get bled dry when they do it properly. Especially when they have a pretty decent comp as well. That scales very well. And you're playing a SHACO. And so here you can see the Lee Sin just goes for the pick onto the Leona. Not sure I would necessarily always do that into the darkness. But our team follow us up. I would have just preferred to do the dragon and push the bottom wave. But, you know, if you can do it, you can do it. But now as a SHACO, this is perfect. This is very, very good. I would just be pushing a mid lane. Like, you know they're all going to be doing this. Just push, push, push. Save your Q to see if to run away. You just need to decompress waves. It's really all you're looking to do. See, now this is crashed, so GP will rotate, but you dissipate down. You can go take some camps here, and ideally we can push this as well. Now, obviously, it's deep watered, you don't know that, but we can push and shatter this scenario. You just got to try and force him into a little bit of a positional error. They rarely do that, but that's all you can do, is control your camps, ward up, try and make a pick, and push waves out whenever you get a chance, and hopefully you guys make the right shadow call and they make a mistake. Really, it feels hopeless sometimes, but if you're in the situation where you're down 8k gold at 20 minutes, it is a hopeless game, and your only hope is honestly forcing them into an error. Now, again, Gangplank almost kills a misfortune, but like, blue team are doing a solid job not dying. Like, they've only had obviously the death to the Kale and the death to the Leona over here and down here, but done a pretty good job overall. Yes, League of Legends is a strategy game, not a PvP game. Yeah, it really is. But at the same time, you guys know me, while it's very, very, very important to understand when to be impatient, when to be patient, when to contest, when not to, if you're slowly being blood dry and the enemy team is just simply not making the mistakes you're hoping for, you really have to try and force something. You really just have to take the fight and hope for the best. Like, you cannot literally lose slowly, and in this case, it's very abundantly clear that blue team are disciplined as much as they can be. The red team are disciplined as much as they can be. They're going to take the Baron and shove you in. Objectively, what should you do? Take your camps, ward up, wait for them to push and wave clear. You could stall this game up to 35 minutes. You got a Kale. It's possible. But unfortunately, they decided to go for the Baron fight, lose it, and a very boring mid to late game becomes even more boring, and they just end the game. So really, the whole point of this was, when you're in a really rough situation, through an invade or against a SHACO yourself, or just compromise in the early game, don't overstress it, accept what you have to give up, assess your reality where the enemy jungler is, try and create a gap between you two and take whatever you can in those moments, and you can neutralize that invade very quickly. I do this all the time because of my picks. I get invaded all the time, so I have to do these things, yeah? And the problem is, most people don't, and the SHACO didn't. And thus the Lee Sin and the laners got control. If all of the SHACO's lanes won and the shoe was on the other foot, the Lee Sin just would have ganked it. SHACO just really didn't do anything proactive. We got a few cleanup kills, but didn't really actively contribute to a win condition. And I think once that stacks up,